gone into a 1-3-1 on the defensive end, and you can see that one of the weaknesses of the 1-3-1 is those corners. It can lead to wide open corner threes, and you saw Coach Peeler instructing to run to the corner on that last three.
There's another open corner shot out of that 1-3-1 defense as Newhoff had an open look. Rebounding also difficult out of the 1-3-1 defense, and the Scots give up the offensive board there. It's TCA's first lead of the game, now 12-11. Powell going to tee up the three ball. That's off the back iron, no good. Rebounded there by Kaufman. A little momentum right now here for TCA.
And Highland Park is getting some good looks out of this 2-3 zone. They're getting some wide open shots. They're just not knocking them down.
Kaufman down low, going to pass it out into the corner. Once again, that's John Shaw. Now, R.C. Yeary calling his name for the first time there, number 5. Well, that was really a pretty nice effort there by Jonathan Naylor to tip it away, but the whistle blows. Foul there on the floor will allow a couple new Scots to check into the ball game. Will Enzor, Cade Wagner getting back out there, as well as Jack Palms. My first time seeing Jack Palms here in a Scott uniform.
It's a good substitution getting Will Enzor back in here because this Highland Park team is shooting a lot of threes right now, and they need a guy that can get in the lane and penetrate and suck the defense in and kick it out to get some more open threes, and Will Enzor is a guy that can do exactly that.
Scott's doing a good job talking there on defense. And they're trapping once again. That's Powell and Siebold combining on the trap out top. They like to gamble out of this. This is right now the 2-3 zone that they're trapping out of. As Enzor secures another board, here comes the senior in transition, and he's fouled from behind there by Luke Glover. Didn't like the call, but caught there for reaching in.
And that's a little wrinkle in the 2-3 zone because you don't necessarily have to trap on the wings, and so that's something that you know that Coach Peeler drew up to kind of speed these guys up to get some turnovers and to get out in the open court.
Well, Kennedy, I know you've been impressed with the versatility of the Scots defense, all the different looks they show you out there, and it's just not that easy to teach all those youngsters all those different things and expect them to go out there and execute it in the game.
It definitely is not, and you know, in typical high school programs, you either a man team or you play like a 2-3 zone, a specific zone. But these guys can play man, they can play 2-3, 3-2, 1-3-1, or they can even, press up a little bit and kind of speed the pressure up. And so that versatility is key to district play, to playoff play, because you don't really know how to scout them if you don't know what defense they're going to come out and run.
I'm dating myself here, but my time at Highland Park actually predates David Peeler's in terms of calling these basketball games. Nice post move down low right there for number 2, Hudson Newhoff. The hoop and the harm. He's going to find himself at the free throw line with a chance to make it a 2-scored contest. But remember when David Peeler got the job at Highland Park, I had been calling the games the previous year with Kenny Hoffpower as the head coach, and when David Peeler came over from Plano West, he told me that getting the job at HP as Enzor secures the board was like winning the lottery without buying a ticket. And his main thing that he was excited about coming to Highland Park was the coachability of the young men, as Enzor has that shot swatted right back at him.
David Peeler has done a fantastic job.
Another block there for Newhoff. But Enzor takes it away all alone, and he'll lay it in with the left hand.
I've only been commentating for maybe a year now, and David Peeler really reminds me of Brad Stevens of the Boston Celtics with the way that Highland Park moves the ball, so unselfish on the offensive end, and their ability to just not just take a good shot, but a great shot. And that's what makes Highland Park so tough to beat, is because you may be the more talented team, but if a team always takes the best shot, then it's going to be really tough to beat.
Similar to the Celtics and Brad Stevens, Peeler demands a high level of play on the defensive end at all times. Newhoff into the corner, teases the rim. Wagner fighting for the rebound. It's going to stay with Highland Park here.
And some coaches would love to go 9 deep and have 9 guys that can come in and contribute. Coach Peeler will probably have 11 guys, and so it's the old John Calipari phrase, we don't have subs, we have reinforcements.
Right. Yeah, and with this particular team, you're just not losing a lot. There's just not a huge drop-off between maybe the third best player on your team and the eighth best player on your team.
It's just a matter of how you want to play. Do you want to go big? They have a big lineup. Do you want to go small? Do you want to strictly go three-point shooting? Do you want to go defense? Siebold
for three, no good. TCA coming the other way as Inzor forced the loose ball, and that's going to deflect off of TCA out of bounds. So Highland Park got out to a quick start, hit their first two shots of the game. They were both three-pointers, so about 30 seconds in, it was 6-0 Scots. Since then, a 14-7 run by TCA. So right now, the Scots trailing by 1. Siebold's going to have a chance to put them up by 2. No good. Powell on the offensive rebound had it knocked away. And Addison controls it again.
And that's a great look. That was a great pass by Cade Wagner to Riley Siebold. And, you know, a couple of nights ago, he was knocking that shot down. And so I would keep feeding him the ball and say, keep shooting.
No doubt, especially with a guy like Siebold. Hey, that's why he was on the varsity roster a year ago as well. And there to shoot the rock. It's going to be a travel called right in front of us there by Brady Freeman. So an unforced error by TCA. Gives it back to the Scots as McGonigal, Staffaroni will check in here. That'll be Palms taking a seat, as well as Siebold, as the Scots get two of their senior captains back in the lineup.
And all of these guys are really good shooters, and they have good mechanics, like Alex Staffaroni.
Staffaroni for three. Alex Staffaroni has as nice a three-point shot as I've ever seen at Highland Park.
And, I mean, you can just go down the list and watch these guys. I really like Dylan Powell's shot. Preston Landis shoots it like he's just, like, flicking his wrist. It just looks so effortless. And once these guys see a ball go in, we're in a middle school gym. Once they see a ball go in, then you can bet that they're probably going to make the next one as well.
That three's no good by TCA. Will Insor's been all over the stat sheet. Another rebound for the senior as Staffaroni has it on the handoff. Powell will draw the blocking foul there against the junior Sam Norris. There's a lot of familiarity between this TCA program and these Highland Park Scots. A lot of these TCA kids might live in the Park Cities. A lot of these guys go to church together and have played together over the years. TCA, obviously, a private school.
Just a little bit of friendly competition.
Absolutely. I wouldn't quite call this a rivalry, but it's a couple teams that have played basically every year as long as I've been around Highland Park basketball. I think the Scots might want the last shot of the quarter here. Nope. Inzor is going to tee it up, and that will hit the top of the backboard and go out of bounds. So Highland Park right now nursing a 2-point lead here with 63 ticks remaining in the first half.
And with the way that Highland Park has been scoring the basketball the past 3 games, if you had told me that at halftime it might be 16-14, I would have said you're kidding me.
Well, the Scots have played pretty good defense in this one. Certainly both teams have missed their fair share of open shots, but I think the Scots have equipped themselves well on the defensive side of the ball.
And now it looks like TCA is holding for one last shot.
33 seconds here, and it looks like the Scots might be content to let them take the air out of the basketball here. It's Newhoff all the way out top. Coach Randy Feemster giving him some coaching points here with 20 seconds on the clock. Now they hand it off to John Shaw. Shaw back to Newhoff. 12 seconds remaining here in the first half. Shaw again there on the wing, looking to get Newhoff set up down low. Instead, it'll be Brett Kaufman for three, and he splashes it home. That will give TCA the 1-point lead as we head to the halftime break. 17-16 now your score as Newhoff and TCA fired up as they leave the floor, and that was a big end of the first half there for TCA.
And it was a great play drawn up. I think it was called money, and they definitely earned a couple of dollars on that last play. Just a great play drawn up. You could tell that they practiced that. They've gone over that in the last minute situation, and so kudos to them.
Game 3 of the Scott Classic here for Highland Park. The Scots trail this one 17-16 after 2 quarters. We'll take a quick 10-minute break and be back for quarters number 3 and 4. You're watching Highland Park Varsity Basketball, presented by Game On Sports. Back here at Highland Park Middle School, I'm Miles Dunklin, joined by Kennedy Miller. As Newhoff going to be called for the foul, as Cade Wagner will head to the free throw line for a couple of shots. Scots gave up a three-pointer to end the second quarter by the TCA Trojans, and they trail this one right now 17-16, make it 17-17. Kennedy was a quick start for the Scots, but then a little bit of a sluggish last half of the first half there. What were your thoughts on the first two quarters for David Peeler's club?
Well, they got some open looks, which resulted in that 6-0 start of the game, and some of the shots just didn't go in. It's an early morning game. Guys are still trying to get their legs under them, and so they got the ball movement. This other team, TCA, is playing a 2-3 zone, and they're playing it really well. And so that's kind of keeping Highland Park on the perimeter. And if the shots aren't working, then it's really no offense going right now.
Nice pass down low from Glover to number 15, John Shaw, as TCA takes the lead once again. 5 on the floor, the same 5 that started the game for David Peeler. Cade Wagner with the rock right there. That's Alex Staffaroni, Preston Landis, Will Enzor, Mike McGonigal's in the corner. So Wagner steps off the line. Had the shot blocked, the lefty did. And here comes TCA the other way. We talked about the Scots' offensive firepower a little bit more maybe than they've had in the previous couple seasons. They don't have a lot of size, but they got a lot of skill, a lot of shooting ability. Didn't really get in that offensive flow there in the first quarter, but Kennedy, this is a team that is poised to explode for 30 points in any given quarter.
And definitely against the Homeschool Athletic Association last night, they were up by, I want to say, 11 at halftime. And then you look up at the end of the third quarter, and they're about 25 because they just had one of those runs spearheaded by Riley Seabold and Dylan Powell. And, it just kind of blew the game open.
Scott's waiting for that run to happen in this game. So far, the game being played at TCA's pace, as Newhoff gets another basket down low. He's probably been the best post presence in this game. I've liked what Newhoff's been able to do. Good to be around Highland Park basketball again, as Staffaroni puts up the 3 ball. No good. Wagner skying in for the board. He's going to earn a trip to the line, his second of the third quarter. So many familiar faces around here. For me, as someone that's been around the program for a long time, just saw Mr. Reichert walk in, had a varsity son for the last 4 seasons. Now they don't have a varsity son, but still good to see a lot of those familiar faces around here. I saw Mr. Nussbaum yesterday. It really is a family around here with the Highland Park program that David Peeler's built.
And it looks like Highland Park is coming out in a 2-3 zone as well, trying to change up their defense and get these guys out of the lane and get so many, take them away from so many easy opportunities they've gotten.
Nice down screen there by Newhoff, sets up the open shot, misses wide, and Wagner able to pull down the rebound. Enzor's got unlimited range. Wagner, the lefty, going to put it up, no good. Rebounded once again by TCA. The Scots just not seeing shots fall right now from the perimeter as they continue to trail in this game. 21-20 is your score. This could easily be a first quarter score, but we're 3 minutes into the third here at the middle school. Shaw hits from straight away. The three-pointer makes it a 24-20 game.
And as a coach, you've got to be somewhat pleased with the way that Highland Park is playing with so many missed shots and so many missed opportunities. They're only down by 4. This is only a 2-possession game, and so the game is still wide open.
As Landis shows what he can do. Preston Landis, his older brother was the same way. He'd make about 2 or 3 plays a game. They would absolutely wow you.
And we called this guy last year, all year, the catalyst. He was kind of like the 6th man off the bench, just gave you a spark when you needed one. Would hit a big shot, hit a buzzer beater to just kind of get the crowd going, get the team going. He's an energy guy.
Just an instant offense guy. Gonna, like you said, just put a little jolt of energy into your team when he's out there on the floor. Enzor called for the block. there on number 15, John Shaw.
You definitely need guys like that, somebody that's always going to come in, you know what you're going to get out of them. And energy guys, it gives your team that spark plug. That's how you win playoff games. That's how you win district games.
Scots dominated District 15 5A last year. Poised to do it again. It's the same district alignment as it was last season, so nothing's changed in terms of the makeup of District 15 5A. Scots will be the favorite once again for the district championship. Kennedy, TCA right now has the game at their pace, and that's probably what's most important for head coach Randy Feemster.
And they are so glad that high school does not have a shot clock, because they are certainly taking their time and using all of their sets that they can run against this Highland Park team.
Will Enzor does not like the call there on the foul, as he's called for the block. Coach Peeler going to go to his two juniors off the bench, Riley Siebold and Dylan Powell. I just caught up with Owen Siebold, Riley's older brother, now a freshman at Syracuse, All-American lacrosse player. One of the best I've ever seen at the high school level in lacrosse. Now up there playing for the Orangemen.
And that play that TCA ran is one of Highland Park's favorite plays, coming out of a side out of bounds. Up here we call it the magic play, where they always find a backdoor cut or a wide open three, and Highland Park just kind of beat them at their own play.
Well, certainly that's a look the Scots are familiar with. Like you said, as Wagner gets the steal. Wagner, the lefty, in transition, all the way to the cup. And he ties the game at 24 all. Cade Wagner has been the catalyst here for the Scots in the third quarter.
Cade Wagner, we talk about Dylan Powell and those other guys having a big game last night. He certainly had a big game, just doing it all at the top of the 1-3-1, putting pressure on the guards, and then banging down low, shooting threes, just everything you need.
Always nice to have a lefty on your roster too. You know, Kennedy, they're always just a little bit more awkward, a little bit more unconventional, but they find a way to get it done.
You know, I'm a little biased. You know, I'm a lefty myself, and you know what they say. If there were no lefties in this world, it wouldn't be right.
24 all here with 2:25 remaining in the third quarter, as Shaw elevates and scores from about 8 feet out. Makes it 26-24 once again. Very competitive game here. Not maybe the game the Scots expected in terms of the score, as Enzor has a wide open look from three from Wagner. No good. Bounces around, collected there by TCA. They get it across the timeline.
Kind of get a feel this game is starting to speed up. It's a little more energy getting involved into the game in the second half.
Hudson Newhoff's had some impressive post moves in this one, but a little bit sloppy right there as he's called for steps. Miles Dunklin, Kennedy Miller with you here from the Highland Park Middle School. This is my first basketball game of the season, not just high school or Highland Park, but overall. So appreciate you bearing with us through here a 9 a.m. game, as Powell off the mark from straight away. Riley Siebold in amongst the trees, able to get the rebound. Kick saving to beauty there by number 23, Brady Freeman.
And how many times are you going to see Highland Park miss two wide-open straightaway threes from the top of the key? You saw Will Enzor miss one. You saw Dylan Powell miss one as well. That's very rare.
Wagner down low. Wagner off the side of the backboard, sticking with it. Kicks it out to the corner to Riley Siebold. And the block is going to be called there against Brady Freeman. I'm filling in for Kyle Yeomans this morning, who will have the rest of this Highland Park basketball season for you. I'm actually living up in Denver now just to catch up some of our basketball fans that have been watching us throughout the year. So I'm in town to do the football game this afternoon. Highland Park Scots and Texas High Tigers. Should be a good one at 2 o'clock from the Frisco Star. As Cade Wagner, awkward play there, but able to go up and get it.
And you said it, he's a lefty, and you know, a lot of people say it's really hard to play against left-handed people because you're so used to playing against right-handed guys that the lefties are so unorthodox in their way of scoring. And that's what Kay Wagner is. He's just finding his own way to put the ball in the bucket.
This game is tied at 26-all. 44 seconds left here in the third quarter. TCA wanted to end the second quarter with the last shot from about this much time remaining. 30 seconds left. Let's see if they are indeed holding for the last shot of the third quarter.
And it looks like they are. It looks like they're about to call up another one of their last-second plays to try and get an open look.
John Shaw was the trigger man on that play at the end of the second as well. It's number 5, R.C. Yancey. Now on the wing to Shaw. 4 seconds left. Flip it into the corner. 2 seconds left. And that's off the back iron. No good. So 26-26. The Scots get a 1-point edge there in the third quarter and tie this thing up as we head into quarter number 4. Now, Kennedy, this was obviously been a very low-scoring game here. The Scots have put up really impressive point totals this year. 90 against South Oak Cliff. They had 85 last night against that homeschool association team. Here they are sitting at 26-all in this game. Does this score surprise you at all?
It definitely does. It's an early game, but when Coach Snowden talked about how slow this team played, I wasn't sure how slow they played, but now I'm fully aware that this team loves to take their time and find the right shot. And it's kind of like Highland Park. They're just going to move the ball. It's no rush. They know that there's no shot clock, and they're just going to find the best shot to take. And unless you get them to turn it over, you're not going to make them take a bad shot.
The 54th annual Scott Classic is upon us here. It's hard to believe it's already basketball season as we're getting pretty close to Thanksgiving, but Highland Park trying to be the winners of this tournament. Tournament's been kind of a mixed bag for David Peeler over the years. They've been always missing their football guys at this time. That's part of the problem with having such a successful football program, that you're not going to get a lot of your football players until around Christmas time every season. But a strong start to 2017 for the Scots, 3-0, 2-0 here in this tournament, and they love to find themselves in that championship game, be able to take on some excellent talent in either Rowlett or Midlothian.
And because they're missing some football guys, it gives some guys who maybe won't get as many minutes later on some chance to get some opportunities to prove themselves and to be in big game situations. And maybe Coach Peeler knows that down the line, he can rely on those guys.
Absolutely. I think you make a great point there. You're basically not going to be, especially in a team like this year, you're not going to be on the squad and not be expected to pull your weight in any given game. Any single game, it could be your time to shine, and that's a nice thing to know when you're on the team with David Peeler, that, hey, I'm not just a token varsity player to sit on the bench. Hey, I'm going to have a role. I'm going to have a chance to make an impact on every game.
And, like if a player goes down or something of that matter and they can't play, somebody fouls out, a lot of coaches are timid to go to the end of their bench. Maybe we can't put that guy in, but playing these type of games early on, Coach Peeler knows I can rely on those guys to give me good minutes.
McGonigal down low, had a double team, stripped out of bounds. 9 a.m. was our start today here from Highland Park Middle School. Game number 3 for the Scots, the Scott Classic. It's McGonigal all alone down low. David Peeler's able to steal a couple of points a game on those inbound plays, and they get it right there. They have their first lead of the second half, 28-26. Now your score, the Scots in front.
And McGonigal just kind of trying to fit himself in that little zone, fit himself in the little hole to get the easy layup down low.
Scots have played excellent defense throughout in this one. Not that time, allowed somebody wide open right underneath the basket. That was Luke Glover as he ties the game at 28. So curse of the commentator there. But Kennedy, the Scots offense hasn't been firing on all cylinders in this game, but the defense has been really solid. That's why they're in this thing.
Most definitely. And you know the old saying, defense wins championships.
Excellent hustle there by Highland Park. McGonigal into the corner for Siebold, and he traveled. Just wasn't able to keep that pivot foot down.
And Coach Peeler's arguing that his feet weren't all the way in the air. He just kind of raised his heels off the ground, and so it shouldn't be a travel.
Yeah, and Coach Peeler, we'll always let an official know respectfully when he disagrees. I'm a big fan of David Peeler. He's always been very good to us here in the broadcast booth over the years. I believe this is now David's 12th season at Highland Park.
And that's extremely pivotal for a program to be as successful as this Highland Park basketball program has been, to have a coach who's been there for so long. I can think about in my high school, we've had 3 coaches in 4 years, and the program is in shambles. And so when you have a guy that can establish this continuity of what he wants to run and you know, trickle it down from varsity to JV. Yesterday before the game, we saw David Peeler coaching JV guys. And there are not a lot of varsity coaches that, you know, will sit down with JV guys and show them the ropes. And so that is extremely key to keeping this system that he's established here at Highland Park.
Well, you bring up a great point there, especially because they're missing a couple of their basketball coaches right now, also coaching football. Carter Bean is one of the sub-varsity coaches here for basketball. He's still got football duties right now. So not just missing players, but coaches as well. A little extra time to put in for Travis Snowden and David Peeler. Carter Bean actually played for Travis Snowden at Travis's previous stop. Snowdens have been a long-time institution at Highland Park. There's that magic backdoor play that Scott's run so well. TCA was looking for here. We're knotted at 28 all. Here with 6 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. A low-scoring game here at the middle school. Game number 3 of the Scott Classic for Highland Park. 5 on the floor right now. It's Dylan Powell, Alex Staffaroni, Mike McGonigal, Riley Siebold, and Jonathan Naylor. Trying to set that backdoor play once again. The Scots defend it well. More deliberate, patient offense here by the Trojans. Wearing their familiar blue, red, and white. Basketball's always been something that they've done very well at TCA. As they try and get that backdoor play set up once again. Newhoff really has been their best post player in this one. And this possession's taken well over a minute now for TCA, as they're not even looking at the basket.
And Highland Park is doing a great job defensively, communicating, going through screens, fighting over them. And, you know, it's a good credit to TCA. They've got a great offensive set that they're running for this minute.
Nice contest there by Siebold, but a beautiful drop-off pass right there by Luke Glover. And that's exactly what head coach Randy Feemster wants to see, a very patient offensive possession that results in a layup.
It kind of lulls you to sleep. You always think about having that defensive intensity for maybe 30, 35 seconds, but over a minute, and it's really tough to keep that same pressure up.
Excellent footwork down low right there by McGonigal as he finds himself open right underneath the basket and ties it up at 30 all. Shaw right there at midcourt. TCA with this patient offense, especially now that they're at this point in the game. No reason to speed things up for the Trojans. This is what's worked for them. You want to keep the number of total possessions in the game down as well. If you feel like you maybe don't have quite as much firepower as the other team. It's a smaller private school compared to a 5A public school. Alex Staffaroni mixing it up defensively. A lot of intensity right now here for what is just 9:56 in the a.m.
And that's what you need, a spark. You know, this game is tied up. It's 30 all. We're used to 90, 80 games, 30-point game. So get some talking in, get some John in. I love it.
McGonigal stepping all the way out on Newhoff. Into the corner, driving in. Boy, I thought McGonigal had the right to the real estate right there. I know the arms weren't exactly straight up and down, Kennedy, but I thought he stood his ground. Aggressive take right there by Brady Freeman as he'll find himself at the charity stripe.
And it's really all you can ask is, the refs make that decision, but McMonagle did a good job of beating him to the spot. He was, put his arms vertical in the air, and so you let the refs make that decision, and you live with it.
First free throw is good by Freeman. The Scots will make wholesale line changes here. Staffaroni, Siebold, McGonigal, and Naylor will sit. Landis, Wagner, Palms, Enzor back into the game. Second free throw is no good, but it's rebounded by the shooter, Brady Freeman, and then he was immediately fouled. Now that was team foul number 7 against the Scots. So 1-and-1 opportunity upcoming here for Freeman, the junior.
And you've got to think with 3 minutes left that Coach Peeler has just put in his last lineup of the game to kind of finish the deal.
Just a 4-man bench today for Coach Peeler. Still a one-possession game as Freeman makes both, so a costly offensive rebound allowed there. It's a 3-point game. Landis to Powell.
And how about Jack Palms being loud and vocal down there?
I got to wonder if that was some kind of a diversion.
I think it was.
It's Landis over to Enzor. Maybe this is the time for Will Enzor to assert himself in the ballgame. 2:45 remaining. 3-point contest. Powell to Landis. Enzor. He can shoot it from there.
And every time he pump fakes, he's getting me. I'm thinking he's about to shoot it.
Well, I've seen him do it. Here's Powell from the corner for the tie. No good. Rebounded by TCA. Shaw to Kaufman. The Trojans nursing a 3-point edge here with 2:20 remaining. They have slowed this thing down all the way as Enzor tries to draw the offensive foul, can't get the call.
And now these guys are pressuring up as Coach Peeler is sitting.
Great effort right there by Enzor as Newhoff looked like he had an uncontested layup. Now, Will thought he had a clean block, but regardless, Kennedy, you got to like the effort. No layups, no dunks. Will Enzor says, not in my house.
I love the effort. You talk about no easy layups. You talk about being there for your teammate. That's what help defense is all about. Now, it was a foul. We can admit that. But Will Enzor saying, meet me at the top of the mountain, and I'll be there, young man. I love it.
And Hudson Newhoff misses the first of 2. So right now this is still a one-possession ball game. And he makes the second. So it's a 4-point edge for the Trojans. TCA has to like where they're sitting right now. They were certainly not the favorite coming into this game. This has been a very good private school program over the years, but certainly taking on a big 5A school here in Highland Park. The Scots had to feel like they were the favorite coming into this game, but just 30 points on the board. I believe this is what they had in the third quarter last night against the Homeschool Association. What do the Scots need to do here in the final 159 to come out of this one with that perfect record in the early season intact?
Well, we know that, you said it earlier, Coach Peeler's known to get a couple of points off of these out-of-timeout plays that he can drop. We know that they're going to be in the 2-3 zone, and so you want a play that might be geared towards getting a 3 in the corner or something towards the rim, but something to get these guys going. You want to score quick because you know that TCA likes to hold the ball for an extended period of time. And then on the defensive end, make or miss, you want to play up. You want to pressure them. You want to get in and make them move the ball and maybe try and get a 5-second count on the perimeter as they like to hold the ball up there.
Well, and if you're too aggressive on defense and you pick up a foul, well, that might not be the worst situation here. You at least are going to be forcing them to give you the ball back. So you don't want to play that foul game here with 2 minutes remaining, but they would have one more 1-and-1, 8 fouls against the Scots, just 4 against TCA, so the Scots won't be in the bonus anytime soon.
And at the worst, if you foul, it's only going to be a 2-possession game still. You're only still going to be down by 6. And with the firepower that Highland Park has, you know that they'll be able to shoot it. And now they've gone into a 3-2 zone.
And they put 4 down here on the baseline. Powell now out. Enzor in the corner. They wanted to shoot it there. Powell back to Enzor, who puts up the 3 ball. That's no good off the front rim. It's rebounded by Newhoff. 1:35 remaining. The Scots just have not been able to get any shots to fall tonight, or this morning, excuse me.
They certainly have not, and that's the difference. It's good looks, they're wide open looks, and you can't ask for anything else.
Shaw down low, blocked by Preston Landis. What an effort by your point guard. 4-point game, 1:12 remaining. Powell over to Landis. Scots need a sense of urgency here as there's 1:05 remaining. Landis into the corner for Enzor. Skip pass to Powell. Over to Landis for 3. That's good! It's a 1-point game here with 56 seconds remaining. And you knew, Kennedy, eventually one of those shots is going to fall. Just too many good shooters there for the Scots. And excellent ball movement right there by HP, starting with the skip pass from Will Enzor in the corner.
And you said it, like coming out of that last timeout, they changed it up into a 3-2 zone. And whenever a team is in a zone, you just want ball movement. You just want to make the defense move. And skip passes really do that well. And it was a great skip pass by Will Enzor and a great extra pass to Preston Landis to get him wide open for that 3-point shot.
So we got a 1-point game now, 33-34. 55.7 remains on the clock. Now we've seen TCA pretty comfortable at the free throw line. But they have missed 1 or 2 throughout the game, and the next foul would be a 1-and-1. So David Peeler, like a madman over there on the whiteboard, drawing up something. Also, certainly scheming up something for the defensive side. What do you think the Scots' approach is going to be here first defensively to get the ball back?
Well, I wouldn't foul initially. I would try and get some stops, try and pressure, maybe if the ball is being inbound in the backcourt, maybe try and trap and try and get the ball out of their hands, try and speed them up. They're not used to being sped up. They like to play at a slow pace, and so if 20 seconds or so gets off the clock, then I think you foul in that situation, because even if you foul, it's still going to be a 1-possession game if they make both free throws. If they make a miss, or if they miss 1 free throw, then you definitely have a chance to win this game. But Highland Park has to like where they are right now.
Coach Peeler loves to go offense for defense. Powell out of the game here for McGonigal as the Scots put on the full court pressure. Enzor tipped it away. It is collected there by Shaw of TCA. Now they have it in the front court. Wide open. Newhoff's all alone underneath the basket. And he makes it a 3-point contest once again.
And that's
40 seconds remaining.
That's actually okay. It's still a 1-possession game. TCA scored quicker than normal, and so now you've got the ball with 30 seconds left.
McGonigal to Enzor for 3. In the tie, he's got it. 36. Oh, this thing is tied up. Will Enzor does it again. We got a brand new ball game here with 25 seconds left.
And now you know that TCA is going to hold for the last shot. And so the question is, do you foul? Do you try and get a stop? Do you trap in the half-court setting to maybe get a steal? Because the last 2 quarters, when they've held the ball for 25 seconds or less, going in after the end of the first quarter, they got a great shot. They got a great shot to make it. And in the second quarter, they got an open look. It just didn't go in. And so this is one of the hardships of being a coach, making decisions like this in crunch time situations. What do you do?
Tough call here as we're under 30 seconds remaining in this one. Overtime certainly in play now as well. I got a football game to call here this afternoon, but I wouldn't mind watching some free basketball this morning here from the middle school. Now as the Scots are in their 3rd game of this 54th annual Scott Classic, trying to move to 4-0 on the season against the TCA Trojans.
What a great shot by Will Enzor. We talked about it in the first half. He was a guy that when crunch time hits can go and get you a bucket. And we've seen from probably 2 minutes on, every time they've brought the ball down, Will Enzor has had his hands ready. And he's been waiting to take that shot.
Well, he's rocking the 5 o'clock shadow right there, Will Enzor. He's a grown man in these kind of situations here, Kennedy. As TCA gets it across the timeline. 20 seconds left. tie ball game, 36 all. Scott's trapping on defense, aggressive. That's number 10, Glover, being guarded by McGonigal, and McGonigal called for the foul right in front of the Scott fans. They don't like it. Coach Peeler doesn't like the call either. McGonigal was apoplectic, but it will be Luke Glover at the free throw line now. It's important to note this is a 1-and-1 here for Glover.
And so now you know that TCA won't get the last shot, and so you've got to believe that Coach Peeler's already drawn up a play down there.
It's no good. The Scots get the rebound, and they are fouled. Now, they are not in the bonus, so the Scots will get a sideline inbound here. That wasn't a timeout. That was a foul on the floor, I believe. And now Coach Peeler does take a timeout. So 36-36 is your score. 6.5 seconds remaining on the clock. And this is now where, as the play-by-play guy, you got to get ready for your buzzer beater call here. As the Scots are going to have a chance to win this at the end of regulation.
And these last couple of calls, Miles, you've got me hyped. I'm kind of shaking over here. I'm excited about the outcome of this game.
What do you think Coach Peeler's got in store for us? Who takes the final shot here for the Scots?
I'd like to lean on the vet, so I would like to find Alex Staffaroni or Will Enzor. It's 6 seconds left. It looks like it's going to be taken out right below the scoreboard, and so it's got to be a quick play. You got to get it in, and I'm looking at one of those guys, and I'm saying, take me home.
McGonigal is the trigger man. They're going to try and get it into Landis. Staffaroni, Wagner, and Enzor also on the floor for the Scots. 6.5 remain. Got to get the inbound pass in first. And they do, to Landis. And he's fouled. Now, you know, I can't hate on this coaching here because you got fouls to give. So as long as the young man isn't in the act of shooting, you're just going to delay the Scots a little bit more, and now Coach Peeler's going to take another timeout. Now, I believe they didn't put up that last team foul. They had 4 team fouls, had the one after the rebound, should have been 5. That should be team foul number 6, and the next one should put the Scots in the bonus, and that's a very important difference right there because now, according to the scoreboard, they have an extra foul to give, which could effectively take off the remaining time on the clock. You could inbound it, get fouled again, and almost not have enough time to get off another shot.
That's very true, and you know, you're kind of thinking, what is TCA's strategy? Because if they foul again and Highland Park makes the free throws, how much time do you really have to go from full court to score the basketball and tie it up, unless you want to go into overtime?
Well, right now, another foul to give for TCA. 3.8 remains. Landis into the front court. McGonigal all alone, couldn't get it to go. The rebound, up and in! At the buzzer, the Scots win it. 38-36, great stick-with-itness right there from Michael McGonigal. Missed the shot, got the rebound, put it up, and the Scots get the win and stay unbeaten here in 2017.
And that's, I'm speechless right now because Michael McGonigal, like you said, stick-with-itness. Because usually a guy misses a layup like that, and he just kind of puts his head down that the game's over, we're going in overtime. But for him to know how much time was still left on the clock and to put it back up again, just a great awareness of the game by Michael McGonigal. And
how about the pass right there from Landis as well? Very aggressive all the way down onto the low block to find Michael McGonigal right there, who had earned some great position there on the block. That was a very aggressive feed right there by Preston.
And you can do that because with 3 seconds left, I can throw it towards down there, and even if it's turned over, then they still have to come back all the way. And so you're afforded that luxury of being able to throw the pass down there. And he put it in a place where only Michael McGonigal could catch it.
So Michael McGonigal and Preston Landis combined, your two senior captains, on that game-winning play, and the Scots steal one from TCA in a morning in which they really struggled to score the basketball, Kennedy. This has been an offensive team that's been able to put up 80, 90 points a contest here in the early going this season. And they're going to win that one with a grand total of 38 points.
And they always say the great ones find a way. And so that's what this Highland Park team did. We knew that the looks that they were getting the entire game were good looks. And we knew that at some point they had to fall. And when Will Enzor made that three, I kind of got a feeling in my gut that these guys would find a way to pull it out.
The Scots did indeed find a way to get the victory here this morning. 38-36 is your final score. So Highland Park stays unbeaten here in 2017. They will move on to game number 4 of this Scott Classic, the 54th annual Scott Classic. So I want to thank our director, Troy Gooder. And Kennedy, any final thoughts on this one here?
Just a great game. It kind of woke me up at 9 o'clock in the morning. Just happy that the Scots won.
It did. On a day I got to go call a football game here in a couple hours. This was a nice little morning cup of coffee here. Nice little wake me up here at the Highland Park Middle School. So for our director, Troy Gooder, and our color man, Kennedy Miller, I'm Miles Dunklin. So long from Highland Park Middle School.